There have been great opportunities the past 2 days, and I was able to make over $1,300 on just 2 trades today. And to be honest with you, if you haven't made money yet this week when we go over the markups, you need extra help and you need maybe even a new strategy, because these are the type of markets and the setups that we need to capitalize on when it is clean trending like this. When we look at the month so far, as we're coming to a close of it, not too bad for how it's felt. It's felt a lot worse than this, battling my way through these markets, not seeing my ideas play out as much as I used to, having to take a little bit more outside of the pocket setups sometimes. But the past 2 days, even though I didn't trade yesterday with it being a bank holiday, there were clean opportunities. I have a video on that day as well. But then today's setups were just as good. We'll look at the first one here. On NQ, definitely looking bullish on the left side here, the 15-minute heading into the open. I mean, just nothing but higher highs and higher lows. That as we pull back pre-market here, it's really just hopefully setting in a nice low buy price, building that higher low, and we go and continue that trend through the open. So once we had about 10 minutes through this open here, sellers couldn't take us much lower. We're holding around this New York VWAP. Technically, I guess the first sign that buyers are in would be this close above New York. But I don't really want to trade while the opening range is still setting. I do want to lean long bias, but I don't really want to trade it when it's still forming, because it may just want to come back higher later on. But then once sellers couldn't take it here and buyers do in fact take it, all right, let's give it a swing. I really like the 15-minute. Buyers are really holding this level. I can get a good stop loss at what is now the opening range low. Again, it's still forming, so that could change. But you can see it's just all profit, and I got a great exit on this one, as we'll go into other markups of today as well. But if you've seen the course in AceFix TV, which I hope you have, if you haven't, you could use code Evan to get 50% off of that. The link is always down below. I'm not looking to take the first break outside open range high. So being that I'm in a trade mid-range, when we get outside the open range high for the first time, if I wouldn't want to take that as a trade, I don't really want to hold this trade much longer than that either. So I get out there at the top because it normally wants to pull back from there, which is what it does. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But just all profits, the quicker it moves up, right? This is only like 5 minutes, but it's straight up. The quicker it moves up, the straighter it moves up. I'm out of the trade as soon as possible. And it's well over 1R anyways. So we'll go to that one a little bit. Then this is later. Very impressive 15-minute chart here. I mean, I got out way left of this chart. You can't even see where I got out on the 1 minute. And it just continues to go higher and higher. Small little pullbacks. Normally I wouldn't like these, and I still don't necessarily love them. But if you put on a high day, if you go up there, another one there, another one there, they do break it and continue to drift higher because there was just that many buyers in the market. As you can see on the 15-minute side of things here on the left, clearly bullish sentiment, and just kept drifting higher. Inversely, what it did yesterday, just kept drifting lower. But this isn't my best play, but it is a discretionary read. We've had 13 consecutive bullish closes here on the 15-minute from pre-market through the open, now at 11:30, 2 hours since New York Open. It's been nothing but buyers. This is definitely a risky short because there has been no sellers today. I'm kind of hoping they step in now, being that it's been 13 consecutive closes. We finally just got our first bearish candle here on the 15-minute. So maybe that's the sign of our turnaround, that buyers are tired, they're too high up, people are taking profits, we're going to be a little bit of a pullback here. And that's exactly what it does. So I'm able to just get in short, knowing I'd want to be out with a stop loss at high a day, because if it continues for a new high a day, yeah, that wouldn't blow my mind, because it's been a lot of buyers today. So it's worth the risk. It's definitely not the safer play. I'm clearly fighting this New York view up and all the sentiment today. And it's just tough to time this one, right? The one thing I would say, trying to time these reversion plays, doing it there or even doing it back here, you'd be fighting all these bullish closes on the 15 minutes. Not really even giving you any signs that we might be ready to turn around. So I at least waited for one 15-minute closure to be bullish here on the 15, saying, okay, well, there's a bar for 15 minutes that buyers couldn't continue us higher. Maybe now's the time to try this short. And it works out well. As buyers couldn't take this high day view up, that was a nice sign that this is probably going to want to fall back down now. And I got out at the bottom because I don't think I have a markup of it quite, but we can go to the charts here and you can see it. I got out somewhere along in here because it's a counter VWAP trade. I'm short up at the top. I'm really just trading the pullback. This could want to form a higher low at any moment. I think I put it on the markup as well. It's behind my camera. What are you going to do? But that was saying I'm getting out the quicker it moves down. Same thing with the same we had on the long up here. The quicker it moves up, the quicker I'm out. This gave nice 7 candles, all bearish. I'm fighting the VWAP. This still could build a higher low at any moment. So I'm not looking for this to just flush down all day and trying to hold it. If I could squeeze out 1R, 1.5R, I'm getting out of it because I still think the trend is bullish. And it timed out very well that I got out at the bottom. not targeting that New York VWAP fully because it doesn't have to go there. That would be a great target, but it doesn't need to go there, and it clearly didn't. The smart thing to probably would do is take the high day VWAP, let it pull back rather than trying to trade the pullback. Wait for buyers to step back in here saying they're ready to go continue that trend after a nice pullback. All right, buyers are in. Stop loss that structure back here, not current structure, previous structure a little bit back there. And this is on the news, so that's why it gets that strong pop. But the trend is clearly bullish. So that would have been the smarter play to do, but it was just nice to scalp some money short during that pullback. But if you've seen any of my videos or any of my streams, I'm really trying to catch the next move of trend. I'm trying to catch all these longs, not try to time when it's going to be 6 minutes, 20 minutes of bearish in a bullish trend. But there are some clean opportunities today. Another good sign on this one, you could turn the initial balance, which is the first hour of the day. So now you can see these red lines here. These pullbacks come right off it because a few people I'm probably assuming are going to say, this pullback isn't quite off the New York VWAP. I need to be off a key level. I need to be off a key VWAP. That's fair. Similar to yesterday's video, if you haven't seen that one, talking about the handoffs or even just the big bearish day we had on Monday, you're not always going to get that full pullback. When there's clearly one direction in control today, a whole lot of buyers, not really a lot of selling sentiment. I don't know if we have the volume or the gas to get that full pullback to a New York VWAP like we would on normal days. Now, of course, it always could, and it still could have, and it stopped me out. But I think you just got to think in probabilities. If we rewind it here, and let's say there's no news on that wick there, and it breaks the high day VWAP after a nice pullback, the biggest pullback we've had today, right? About 30, 40 minutes, when all these are just like 3-5 minute pullbacks, not really pullbacks that I'm interested in. We now have our biggest pullback of the day. It's filled in some of that gray space. It's pretty close to New York. It's around the initial balance high. If this breaks the high day VWAP and runs higher, how could I say I don't like that long? Playing probabilities. The probabilities are it still wants to go higher. This break of high day VWAP is telling me buyers are back in control. So I can't just sit there and say, but no, this probably doesn't go higher. It probably still does go higher. All these higher highs, higher lows, all these stocks moving higher. The New York VWAP is sloping up. We're around these key levels. It's telling me the pullback is done because we took out this high day VWAP. Would I like it to be off New York? Yeah, sure. That'd be ideal. But probabilities are this still wants to move higher, so let me get involved in the trade. It's worth the risk. That's all we're playing is probabilities, and is it worth the risk to find out if I'm right or wrong. On the day like this, when the sentiment is very clear, I think this one would be worth the play. Although I guess this specific occasion you're trading into that news pop, that's a tough one to try to chase. But on the note of the initial balance, you can see wild move there. But one more thing here on this initial balance. If you go over to Edgeful here, you can see the stats on ES. Let's go to, not the ICT opening retracement, the initial balance report. And you can see that the odds that we double break it, let's go by weekday. Yesterday, we did a Monday, so let's see what our odds are on a Tuesday. By weekday on Tuesdays, 30%. If I'm not wrong, let's check real quick. 24, 6. So Wednesday or Tuesdays are our greatest chance of double breaking this initial balance, just on weekday side of things. But it's still only 30%. So there's a 70% chance it probably just breaks one side. And with the low volume of it just breaking one side, being nothing but buyers today, I really can't say I don't want to trade this long because I definitely don't think it comes lower. The sentiment doesn't say that. The stats are saying it probably doesn't do that as well. Again, I think it's worth the long risk. Now, another thing I want to look at on this chart, which is super clean, if we go with a 15-minute here, I tweeted it out as well. I make it in all the videos. So we put on the daily VWAP on the overnight, turn that black. What is the price that pays? Where would I want to be in long more times than not? Or in a short for moving lower? The overnight VWAP. This is anchored from the 6 p.m. changeover of day on the electronic trading hours, where you can see all the pre-market noise, all the everything. All overnight, we started around that VWAP, got a nice little lift. Pulls back to this overnight VWAP again. Then you catch the pop from there. It retraces back down to this VWAP again. Again, you see where I'm going. It catches the pop from there. After all that overextended move, we could take a look at this 1 minute again, because it does break below the New York VWAP. Here on the 1 minute on the regular trading hours, do I want to be selling this in and around here? Let me turn off this initial balance. We don't need all these levels. But you see, we clearly break below New York. So our sellers in control, and I want to be looking for shorts. Well, another thing I just said previous, probably not, because the stats of a double break aren't very favorable that this keeps on running lower to break both sides. So there's a 70% chance it doesn't go lower to a new low a day. All right, well, that's not very bearish looking. Yes, we are below this New York VWAP for a little bit, but if you're going to sell it around this, you probably want to sell it at that New York or in and around it. You don't want to be chasing it too low because, again, it probably doesn't go much lower than that to the low a day. But same thing, if we went back to this 15-minute, where are we actually on this pullback? We're at the overnight daily view up here. So no, I don't want to sell it. This is probably a great chance to look for longs again off a key level. And that's what it does in the last few hours of the day. Same thing it did here heading into the open. The moves happen from this view up. So if I can get a pullback or a correction to this view up at any time during the day, when there's a clear trend, I love putting in a position in and around this level because this is normally where it's going to pop from. If trend sustains, I want to be in before the next pop, right? Rather than chase it way up here higher and hope it keeps going higher. If it's down here at this VWAP, I don't really need to hope it runs very far. If it just moves a little away from here, I'll probably make money because this is one of the best prices to watch it at. And again, it's really going to be your line in the sand for sentiment as well. Because if you're looking for potential shorts on those 1 minutes, like we said, you hop over to the 15-minute here, you're not going to like that short at all. And hopefully it saves you from a losing trade. So hopefully you guys found value in the trades today and hopefully you made money today. And like I said, honestly, don't want to be too harsh about it. But if you haven't made money yet this week on Monday and Tuesday, definitely consider signing up for the streams. You could use code Evan, get 50% off. You also get access to the course on here, Futures 2.0 and Futures 101 if you've never traded futures. Because I think these past 2 days have been really clean trending compared to the week we had prior that we need to try to maximize on these days because they're really just seem to be rarer than they normally were. But again, if you need an account as well, always check out Top One. They're running a 50% off like it says down below. All the links to everything are down below. I got the best deals for you guys if you just use code Evan. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Trade safe. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a like, drop a comment on what videos you guys want to see next and what you're struggling with. And other than that, trade safe, and I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.